With us now from Abbottabad, Pakistan, the town where Osama bin Laden was killed, is Al Jazeera correspondent Imtiaz Tiab. And Imtiaz, give us a sense of, first of all, what went down in that town with the operation, if you can add any details, and also any reaction there.
Well, yes, I'm here in Abbottabad, which is about an hour and a half away from Pakistan's capital city, Islamabad. This is a relatively well-to-do city. It has a lot of mansions, a lot of VIP people, for lack of a better word, that choose to live here. It's a very beautiful location, ringed with mountains. But locals who I've been speaking to say at around 1 a.m. this morning, local time, they heard 4 explosions and then a very loud explosion. An explosion they say was so loud that it shook some of them out of bed. They say that it turned the sky orange. Now, one of these locals who I was speaking to, his name was Asad Khan, he said he rushed to where all this noise and where all this commotion was coming, and he said what he saw was flames and smoke and security personnel surrounding this area. This area, of course, is now the house that we know that Osama bin Laden was captured and killed at in an operation carried out by U.S. forces. But what he didn't say, or rather what he didn't see, were any U.S. soldiers or any U.S. officials of any kind at this house. But he did see an awful lot of smoke, an awful lot of fires at a house which he say many in the community have had many questions about, simply because the people who live there were very secretive.
And we heard reports this morning that no phones in there, no service to and from that compound. In fact, it was so closed off that instead of getting regular garbage pickup, they would burn the trash there. How large is the community, and how hard would it be for suspicions not to be raised for such a compound being built in the middle of this area?
Well, there's sort of 2 answers to this question. We have to keep in mind that, Pakistan is a country of relative uncertainty. So a lot of houses here in Pakistan are compounds, for lack of a better word. They have high walls. They're very heavily fortified. And this could just be somebody's regular home. But this house was a very interesting home, specifically for these neighbors here, the people who lived in this community. They say that we're having conflicting reports over just who this man was, but that they only really saw one man living there, and that the only real interaction with this house was by a man who claims to have gone there on a daily basis selling bread and a chicken to this house. So again, a lot of questions and a lot of being asked rather here in this community over just who these people were. This house, they say, has been owned by this one family for a decade now, but now here we are hearing that the United States became aware of this, or at least appeared in U.S. intelligence as of September of last year. So at least for months now, Osama bin Laden has presumably been living in this house, possibly even years. But of course, it's raised a lot of suspicions and questions, at least with locals here. But what we're also hearing is that it certainly didn't raise any questions about the military, which has a large academy here. In fact, one of the most prestigious military academies in all of Pakistan is less than a kilometer from this house where Osama bin Laden was captured and killed. So many questions. Some of these were raised by the neighbors, but here we have this military academy less than a kilometer away from this house.
I'm just curious, does this suggest, there's such a mystery to Al-Qaeda, there was a mystery about bin Laden, how primal are they, how Neanderthal, how advanced, how are they living, is he living in a cave? Does this kind of, in some way, show the fact that they were just there in a compound with doesn't seem to be incredible security? Should this give us more peace that these people are more backward than we even imagine? One would think that they would have had him set up a bit better, for lack of a better word. So should this make us feel better?
Well, many had assumed that Osama bin Laden, at the very least, had been living in the tribal regions of the country. But Abbottabad, again, is only about an hour and a half outside of the capital of Pakistan. It, again, is a very affluent city, for lack of a better word. And it is home to one of Pakistan's most prestigious military academies. And yet, at the same time, Osama bin Laden is known to be living in this house. Now, we have seen some pictures of inside this house shot on amateur mobile phone video, it's a relatively ramshackle-looking place. We've seen sacks of sugar, but again, not a very sophisticated hideout, if you were, for the most wanted fugitive in the world. By no means a sophisticated place, and yet for we don't know exactly how long, but possibly for months at least, Osama bin Laden has been living here. So it does beg a lot of questions, just how he wound up here, how he managed to elude captivity for so long, and, you know, again, questions being raised over just what sort of intel led to his capture and killing early this morning.
All right, Imtiaz, thank you so much for that insight and perspective. Really appreciate it.